Well, I always felt as though this game today was going to be very different to the two that we've had previously here. I think this Miami side have improved immensely under Phil's guidance and leadership, more so in an organisational sense, and it proved very difficult to break down today, which I think in the last two games everyone would agree we've created bundles of opportunities, efforts to goal, and have looked very bright. I don't know whether the conditions and the sticky field, first time it's been a bit warmer, and the field wasn't anywhere near as slick, but the game felt a little bit slower. I'm not sure that helped us. And in the end, the big moments, the creative individuals, and the opportunities I felt that we manufactured were unfortunately not clinical enough. And I know they'll be disappointed with the opening 10 minutes, but beyond that, they had two shots and none on target in the next, 80, 78 minutes. So I'm really pleased with a clean sheet, but of course very frustrated and disappointed we weren't able to turn it into a victory.
Thank you, Coach. We will now open the floor for questions, and we will begin with one from Drake Fields with the Tennessean.
Gary, even though you talk about how that first 10 or 15 minutes or so were a bit tricky, but Cadiz did have that chance where he's able to get that header, and it just unfortunately went out of bounds. And then of course Mukhtar had a couple of chances, but on the sheet it'll say that Randall Leal was the one to really dominate the attacking creativity. What do you say? Do you say that it's Randall and it's dropping off from everyone else in terms of quality? Or when you say that there was a lack of quality, what exactly do you mean by that?
I think, and I'm not pointing the finger at our creators as such, I'm saying in a general sense, if you look at the fact, if I've read the stats right, we had 18 crosses today. And I believe, if I can recollect properly, that we've only actually connected with 4 or 5 of those. That could be, of course, open play crosses at their ball situations weren't anywhere near as accurate as they have been. So there was an area in our game, number one, that we were unable to take advantage of today. Secondly, even in the final third or the attacking half of the field, players that have been playing in the last 2 games at a very good level, we're just not able to find that fluid play, that connection, that understanding, that sparkle that's needed, and we've seen in the last 2 games. So therefore, there's a piece of the puzzle missing. What I will say is that in terms of a determined and difficult group to play against, I think we've shown, again, all of the qualities that have given us success in the past, and still have created enough opportunities, I believe, to have edged the game. Now, if you're going to have what I think I saw were 10 shots and 5 of them on target, I can remember 2 or 3 of those moments that really and truly, if you want to take the game, you got to convert. The game today had 1-0 written all over it. And if we're not going to be the one to make the breakthrough, then we have to come out of the game with at least a point. But therein lies my frustration.
Steve Cavendish with Nashville SC.
Thanks, Gary. 3 games, 3 draws. Who in this lineup? It's been largely the same lineup to start. Who in your squad gets a chance to provide a spark in upcoming games?
I'm not sure it's so much about wholesale changes or who's not getting the job done. If we take the 3 games as a cross section now, this has been the most difficult, and it's been the tightest. The other 2 games, I think we would all agree, we really should have taken all 3 points. So it's not necessarily today where we've missed the opportunity. It's probably been the last 2 games that have made our start look a little bit tepid. But I can only reiterate that pre-season was not straightforward. We are still trying to find a rhythm. We are still trying to find the right balance in the group. There are still some really good displays. We've carved some very decent openings against a much, much improved Miami group. And all in all, the frustration lies in not winning. It's not in how we're playing, it's in not winning. If we look at one person in particular, I think Joe's disappointing second goal against Cincinnati and maybe how he felt and looked, he's well and truly in the rear view mirror now. He looked like the goalkeeper we saw last year, makes 2 outstanding saves in the opening 10 minutes. So we're slowly but surely finding what I believe to be the team that we saw last year, but with some added impetus that we know can give us opportunities, as we've seen today. But we have to convert those opportunities.
Team Sullivan with for club and country.
You talked after the first 2 games that the lack of a preseason pretty much really impacted the way that you guys played. Did this kind of feel like the first regular season game playing out in the way that it did, with the offensive guys unable to find the connections and the sorts of things that you would expect at the beginning of a normal season?
Well, yeah, you're starting to see a more natural edge to the game. Miami themselves, having spoken to some of their staff, had a similar difficulty during preseason. And you have to expect that any team that we play against now, slowly but surely, are going to be finding their form and their feet. And as I've said multiple times, they're much improved. We are not going to create 32 or more shots at goal in a game regularly. It's not normal. So, we have to be thinking somewhere around the sort of 10 to 20 mark is something that I would say in tight games will be more natural. So therefore, today's output in front of goal, I believe, has been enough to have edged the game. A tight game, a difficult game, and one we should expect to see more of. There were few mistakes. They had a game plan. They were going to make life difficult. But that can be seen in the way that the percentage of possession went. 60% of possession, more opportunities, more crosses, more territorial advantage. But they had a game plan. They were going to maybe defend a little bit deeper. They were going to ask us to be the aggressors. So it's tough to break teams down that are very well organised. I felt we did enough. Sadly, we don't have that to show on the sheet today.
David Shepard with Speedway Soccer.
Hey, Gary, kind of a trend going through these first 3 games is high danger chances for the other team in the opening quarter of the game. Obviously we saw a couple of goals go in early against Cincinnati, one against Montreal. Willis comes up with big saves today. But from your chair, what do you see in that, the first 15, 20 minutes, giving up those high danger chances when the rest of the game that really hasn't held true?
Yeah, well, forget anything other than the fact that when you concede goals, when you start in a particular fashion and the players can start to see a minimal trend in the first 2 games, that we've started slowly, but we've got stronger and stronger. There naturally is a sense of anxiousness and anticipation of what comes next. And as much as you try and you want to think about what those opening minutes mean and how you're going to navigate them, you need somebody sometimes like Joe to come up big. And I personally believe today's game has put that into our rearview mirror. We'll go into the next fixture in a much better mental state with a clean sheet. And I believe you'll see a more relaxed and free-flowing group in the early exchanges, or I hope so. And one that has created the moments that we have today, but with an edge to it in front of goal. When all's said and done, out of the 10 shots and the 5 on target, I think we may all agree that there were at least 3 of those that we should have done better with. And I can think of Daniel Lovitz's opportunity. We've spoken about Yonder's, and late on, Dominic Badges. You know, there may have been more that I can't remember, but quite frankly, against a good team, you're not going to get 30 opportunities to smash it in the top corner. They won't allow you to. But the balance for me was far more realistic today, with only 2 efforts at goal and none on target inside roughly 80 minutes of the game. I think we can be happy with that and disappointed with the attacking end of the field in front of the other goal.
Then right with Broadway Sports.
Yeah, Gary, we saw 2 players that we either haven't seen at all before or haven't seen in a while. Dom Baji came on for the first time in a while, and then Rodrigo Piñeiro made his debut. Could you just talk a little bit about those guys and what you've seen from them so far and why they came on today?
Yeah, Dominic's been carrying a bit of an injury. We've tried to get him back to 100% health, of course, and stronger and more durable, ready to deal with those rigours. And he's worked ever so hard. He's in a good place. He's looked sharp in training. And I felt he deserved his opportunity, especially at home, to give us a little bit of a different dimension, or possibly how we ended up with 2 up front. Rodrigo, he's still finding his way for sure. He looked very, very bright this week. I wanted to give him a lift and see if there was an opportunity for him and keep him engaged. But, you know, he's still got ground to cover, Rodrigo. And I think, you know, we can look at the fact that he's come from a completely different country, culture, first time abroad, and all of the difficulties that presents. And he's doing a wonderful job. So, you know, he may be dipping in and out, but he's certainly one that I think as time goes on, we'll see a little bit more of.
Claudio Villalobos with the final portion of his availability.
Gary, it seems like Nashville depends sometimes during games on the emotional status of players like Randall, like Hanny, like Neville, perhaps. Is that a correct assessment?
I don't know about the emotional. I would certainly agree with the fact that they are a catalyst and a focal point for our creation. Absolutely. You know, the 2 games prior to today, Randall and Hanny have looked extremely bright. But for whatever reason, and only by looking back at the game, both of those guys found the game more difficult. They were unable to find those spaces and creative moments to isolate defenders. Was it the fact that their team defended a bit deeper? Was it the fact that the fullback on Randall's side was better? I don't know. I'll have a look at it. Was it the fact that Randall today didn't feel quite as bright and purposeful, having played his 3rd game in the early part of the season and really a difficult run into it with pre-season games? All of those things are instrumental in our players' feel. But yes, of course we rely on them. You know, they'll go away today happy with a point. I don't think they'll be happy at all, given the talent they have in their group, that they had 2 shots in 80 minutes. I certainly wouldn't be. I'm sure they won't be, but they'll be very, very pleased with the way they defended. So, of course, the creative players are a massive catalyst for anything you do. And, you know, we rely on them an enormous amount.
Thank you, Coach. A clean sheet finally for you this year. How did you feel?
Yeah, it felt good to keep the clean sheet. We're starting to get back to what made us successful last year, being very tough defensively to break down. You know, obviously we would like to get 3 points out of the game. 3 games at home now to start the season, and it's 3 draws, so it's not good enough from us as a whole. So we'll take that into this week, try and figure out how to make it better, and hopefully we can get our first win next week.
We will now open the floor for questions. As a reminder, please refer to the chat if you have a question for Joe. Kicking off the session will be Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country.
Joe, you've talked in the past about how you like to get your hands on the ball early to kind of feel like you're getting into the game. What is it like to go through a game like this where you have a really tough save early in the game and then hardly see much of the ball at all after that?
Yeah, like you said, you know, I would prefer to get my hands on the ball early, make a couple saves because it gives you that confidence going forward. Even though they're will be lulls in the game where you're not really involved. If something pops up in the 70th minute, 75th minute, you can go back on that first save that you made and have the confidence to do it again.
Next question, David Shepard with Speed with Soccer.
Hey, Joe, kind of just piggybacking on that same idea. We've seen this team through the first few games give up high danger chances. Through the first two, we saw a few goals spill in. Today, that wasn't the case. Do you think that kind of helps you guys maybe cleanse your palate in these early goings moving forward and kind of just hit reset, know who you are as a defensive unit, and just kind of be able to say, all right, look, we know who we are for the full 90, and we'll be able to go out there and perform soundly?
I mean, we've obviously had some slow starts to start the season, and it's something we've discussed and something we're trying to work on. If there was an easy answer, then we would have figured it out already. But I think that's also why you play with a goalkeeper, is that at times, shots are going to get in, and you need a goalkeeper to make those saves. If that weren't the case, then we would just play with 11 field players. But the first two games, I wasn't able to step up for the team and keep them in it early, and today I was. So I think that's the real difference. But like I said, moving forward, we need to address the slower start and figure out, what we need to do to get on the front foot early and really impose our game.
Rodrigo, ¿cómo te fue en el partido de hoy? ¿Cómo fue finalmente debutar para Major League Soccer?
Bueno, nada, la verdad que muy contento por el debut. Aunque sea fue un poco tiempo, pero ya hay otra oportunidad de poder demostrar lo que tengo para sumar al equipo y nada, obviamente que queremos la victoria a todos, pero bueno, el próximo partido será.
I'm very happy for making my debut. Obviously, it wasn't enough time, but I will definitely have more opportunities to demonstrate and show what I'm capable of. Unfortunately, there wasn't a victory, but hopefully we can get that in upcoming games. We will now open the floor for questions. A reminder to please alert me through the chat if you have a question for Rodrigo. We will kick it off with Tim Sullivan with For Club and Country. Vamos a comenzar la rueda de prensa con Tim Sullivan de For Club.
Rodrigo, when you step out on the field and see a stadium like this, how excited are you for the opportunity in the future when it's full of 70,000 people?
Que ¿Cómo te sentiste al entrar a la cancha y ver un estadio tan grande lleno de gente y lo que tú piensas que va a ser cuando el estadio tenga 70,000 personas?
Nada, como dije primero, feliz y contento por el debut y respecto cuando entré, lo que sentí es una presión muy linda que a mí me motiva mucho, me gusta jugar con gente y con esa presión de que la gente grite y que nos aliente, es bueno, es motivante para mí.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm first and foremost very happy to have made my debut. When I first came onto the field, I felt the pressure that was very, very beautiful. It's incredible to play in front of fans and the pressure that gives you. So I look forward to keep playing in front of them. The next question comes from Claudio Villalobos.
Rodrigo, seguramente en tu carrera, digo yo porque no estoy seguro, habrás tenido la oportunidad de estar en un equipo que debería iniciar la temporada como Nashville con 5 puntos, digamos, y de ellos solo tiene 7 puntos. ¿Esa experiencia la has tenido? Y si la has tenido, ¿cómo es que hace el equipo, cómo debe hacer el equipo para revertir esa situación de no ganar los puntos que merece?
The question that Claudio was posting is in regards as to how does the team prepare to take more points than it should have in the past 3 games?
Bueno, para revertir esta situación, obviamente que es trabajando, hay que trabajar duro de los errores que cometimos como equipo, pero esto es muy largo, ¿no? Todo recién empieza y para eso están los primeros partidos. A veces te salen bien, a veces te salen mal, pero nosotros trabajamos muy duro y seguramente vamos a repetir esto de inmediato. Estamos trabajando muy bien y hoy se vio un cambio grande. Jugamos contra un equipo con mucha competitividad, con muchos jugadores buenos y fuimos superiores.
We just need to work hard and solve the mistakes that we've been making as a team. The season is long. We're just kicking it off. So in order for us to change the pattern here, we just need to continue to work hard. And definitely today we saw a different team in front of us, a more difficult team. And we just need to continue working hard, solving those mistakes in order to get points as the next few games come to place. The next question is from Drake Hills with the Tennessean. Drake Hills con el Tennessean.
Rodrigo, congratulations for making your debut. Gary Smith has said in the past that the pace and the workload are things to get used to for you coming to MLS. Now that you've actually gone from training to an actual match, how is the pace and how are some of the findings that you've seen now that you've made your debut?
Dice que el técnico ha comentado en varias ocasiones que te tienes que continuar adaptando al tipo de juego, de práctica, etcétera, acá de los Estados Unidos. Ahora que ya has dado el salto a debutar oficialmente, ¿qué es lo que tienes que hacer para adaptarte, para seguir ese proceso de adaptación?
Bueno, primero que nada, muchas gracias por las felicitaciones. Y con respecto al adaptamiento, bueno, sinceramente sí, lo primero me costó. Vengo de un juego de mi país que es muy lento, de acá es muy rápido. Y bueno, por eso obviamente que también la forma que entrenan muy duro y en mi país no, y eso me costó, pero ya lo agarré, ahora estoy agarrando confianza y nada, y ahora estoy preparado para cuando me toque jugar. Yo me siento muy bien, con confianza y bueno, ahora esperando la oportunidad que me dé el técnico. Obviamente que el primer equipo está jugando muy bien, con muy buenos jugadores, pero lo importante es que el equipo le vaya bien. Yo estoy preparado para la oportunidad.
Thank you so very much for the congratulatory message. First, it was very hard when I first got to the country and began to adjust to a new way of playing and working. In my country, the game is actually far more slow, and the training is actually harder here in the States. So I just need to keep getting confidence and be ready for when the opportunity presents itself. Right now, the first team is doing very well. We had a great group of guys, and therefore I just need to be ready for that moment when I get to prove myself and contribute to the team as a whole. The next question comes from Alonso Martinez, Angulo.
Buenas tardes, Rodrigo. Felicidades por el debut. Aparte de la adaptación en el equipo, ¿cómo va tu adaptación en la ciudad? Vienes de un fútbol totalmente diferente como lo es en Uruguay. Danubio, un equipo histórico en Uruguay. Venías a una liga completamente diferente. ¿Cómo va tu adaptación dentro de la ciudad? ¿Y cómo recibís la participación el día de hoy en tu debut oficial?
The question that Alonso is posting is in regards to how he is adjusting to the city as a whole.
Bueno, muchas gracias, buenas tardes. Bueno, primero, la ciudad me encanta, es muy lindo. La verdad que estoy muy feliz acá en Nashville y bueno, queda solamente disfrutar, pero obviamente que vine a trabajar duro y a luchar por lo que yo quiero, que individualmente es jugar y tener minutos y poder seguir creciendo personalmente. Como dije anteriormente, me costó lo primero, pero ahora ya estoy con confianza, ya estoy a ritmo y voy a esperar mi oportunidad y aprovecharla al máximo cuando me toque entrar cada minuto.
Thank you so much. The city is beautiful. I love it here. I'm very happy being here. But I came to work really hard and to continue to fight to make make my place in the team and continue to find minutes for me to play and grow as an individual. As I mentioned, I've been working hard. I have confidence in myself, and I'm just waiting for the opportunity and to get more minutes and make an impact in the team.